It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
All right. We're right here hot at WHPR, TV 33, TV 91 on Comcast, and all of the other computer accessible programs. We thank you so much for tuning in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. My name is Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and I ask that you tell your friends and family, co-workers, etc., to tune in to Feedback. I'd like to thank all of you who are helping to sponsor this program. And for those of you who are considering, we'd like for you to write your check out to Hood Research. But if you prefer, you can write your check out to WHPR. We have no objection to that. But we want you to mail it to Hood Research so that we can make sure it gets credited for this program. So if you would, send it to Hood Research, P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan 48204. Again, that's P.O. Box to Hood Research, P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan 48204. I want to say good morning to Barbara and Rosa, and to Vera and Barbara and Sam Black, and to Jay way on the east side, and to Tawana, and to so many of you who are tuned in, to Ron, good morning, and our son and Carl tune in from time to time, and Henry as well, and to Dee Dee and Sylvia. And I want you to share anything that you've come across over the weekend. We have a lot that's been going on. Ask that you pray for this country. We have a man who is hell-bent on destroying it, it appears. And today we're supposed to get an announcement from him for the next judge that he wants to appoint to the Supreme Court. It seems that the Supreme Court is now under siege, if you will, by not just conservatives, but you might say racist conservatives, white nationalists, whatever you want to describe them, to take us back to what they call the good old days and attempt to make this country in their image, and not to continue having an improved quality of life. We appear to have been on a path that would make it better for all of those who live here. But we now have a person who is showing his true feelings, and a lot of it was shared during the presidential campaign, but now he gets to exercise whatever hateful ideas that he has. And it's being shown towards the children who are coming here with their parents for asylum. They want to escape the kinds of hatred that are going on in their own countries. But not are they only not receiving assistance, but the children are being separated from their parents, and we have hundreds and hundreds of children. Some of them are even in the state of Michigan. And I say, if you want to build a wall between Canada and the United States. Build the wall between Canada and the United States. Why? Because the sex slave trade is alive and well, and many of them are being moved through the state of Michigan. We also have a body parts trade that's going on. So for the children and the people that we hear that are missing, are they really missing, or have they been kidnapped and murdered for their kidneys, their hearts, their livers, and any other part of the body that can be traded? So perhaps a wall needs to be built between Canada and the United States. I have with me this morning as my co-host Commissioner Bill Davis, and sometimes some people call this the Bill Davis Show. Thank you for joining me, Commissioner.
Good morning, Metro Detroit.
Do you have anybody you want to say good morning to?
I say good morning to all my friends. I don't say anything to my enemies.
Okay, okay. And we have a guest with us this morning, and it's Scotty Bowman. Thank you for joining us, Scotty.
Hello, Theo. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, let's start out by you telling the people, who is Scotty Bowman?
Okay, well, today, as far as my topic of interest, I am the founder of DRACO, which is an acronym for Detroit Residents Advancing Civilian Oversight. A while back in 2017, I was running for office in the 4th District for Police Commissioner, and what I found is a lot of people didn't understand that the Board of Police Commissioners is a civilian oversight organization. I mean, I obviously don't have to explain that to Mr. Davis here, but a lot of the people, potential constituents I was meeting, did not fully understand that. A lot of people asked, like, was I running against Chief Craig? How long have I been on the force? Thank you for my service, and so on. And so I wanted to clarify that and explain that, and a lot of people had anti-police feelings, and they were taking it out on me, and I'm like, actually, you should want to have civilian oversight. Right. But I've, since then, taken on an educational project, that no longer being a candidate, but instead being a person who realized that the need existed, and I wanted to continue informing people about what the Board of Police Commissioners is and what it is for. And then as this new election, this primary on August 7th is approaching, I realize there's a certain degree of urgency because the charter is up for revision. And that's when I realized that, wait a minute, if they revise the charter, everything's up for grabs. We have no idea what would be changed, whether or not the very heavily under-publicized Office of Police Commissioner and people's right to elect their commissioners would be undermined, because they could possibly sneak that through. And even though there is another vote on the whole thing, there's so little publicity paid to this topic that people may not realize the harm. So if you want a particular change in the charter, there is something called a revision amendment or a charter amendment, and one can make an amendment that everybody voting on it knows what the consequences will be. But what we have right now is a wild card.
Right. Well, to be technical about it, the proposal on the ballot is asking, should we open the charter for revision? And the voters have a right to say, yes, we should, or no, we should not. I say, no, we should not. It was just opened in 2012, which was a out-of-sequence opportunity for things to be changed. And actually, the date should have been 2018. Since it was not, it appears that the mayor wants to take an opportunity to sneak in a few things and to eliminate the Department of Police Commissioners, which we should never want to have done. And the police commissioners are members of the community who monitor the police department and the action of its officers, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, back to the charter.
Yes.
Yeah? You have a question?
Oh, no, I just want people to know that there are 11 positions of police commissioners. 11. 4 are appointed by the mayor, so he already has significant influence, and 7 are elected. In my opinion, they all should be elected, but that's the way it is.
In the charter, right, at this time. And one cute little trick that happened this past election, there was one appointed commissioner who ran for the office to be elected in the district where he's supposed to live, and he was elected. So now the mayor has an appointed commissioner who has moved musical chairs from an appointed position to an elected position, which means that he will have 5 people doing what he says do. Right?
Yes, I remember you came to a board meeting and you was asking about that, and you was also asking something about the fact that you don't see him often at the
At the meetings, no. And when I asked him about being so upset about the appointment of the new employee, head of the department, he said, I got a day job.
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
what is that? He has a day job, but he agreed to be appointed. He has now agreed now that he's elected, and still does not appear that he attends the police commission meetings. And what I'm concerned about is a way to remove those who act as if they want the position but do not carry out their agreement to that responsibility.
I think if you make a commitment, you should be there.
Should
You know,
I?
like I could be doing a whole lot of other things. It's not like the job pays, but I made a commitment, and I think if you make a commitment, you give your word on something, you
Right.
should show up, and you should be responsible to the people that elected you.
Exactly. So one way to remove this particular person would be recall now that he's elected. Scotty.
Yes, I want to add that, yeah, you can always have the recall, and then there's also the next election. And also, if one believes that there are changes that one needs to make to the charter, the way you can do it is by the amendment process, so we do not need to put everything else that has been accomplished at risk. Since the 2012 charter is the first time that people have been allowed to elect their own commissioners, and unfortunately, much of that, the impact of that was softened by the fact that we had this emergency manager, which
Emergency crook.
yeah, which prevented, or at least was used as an excuse for the role of the Board of Police Commissioners to be suppressed, and it hasn't really had its opportunity yet. And like I said, I had to inform a lot of people because, well, effectively the rest of the media out there wasn't really doing its job in informing people. So,
Right.
We're working on that as best we can and getting out to people that we do have 7 elected commissioners by district. And for instance, if someone has a complaint, they can make an independent complaint to the Board of Police Commissioners, and the chief.
And we highly recommend that.
Yeah, and the chief investigator can investigate that. And so, if you're uncomfortable that there may be some kind of conflict of interest by going to internal affairs, which may or may not be the case sometimes, that's your other option. And this way you have people that are not part of the police department
Well,
picking up your case.
okay. Well, just before we go to the call, I want to say this. My understanding is internal affairs, which they sometimes call IA, is for criminal acts by police personnel. The police investigators department handles non-professional acts by police personnel.
Non-criminal acts.
Non-criminal. We will go to the phone line. Thank you for calling. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, how you watching us?
I'm watching you from Comcast. My name is Barbara.
Oh, thanks for calling, Barbara.
What I want to know is, I'm not able to get to the police commissioner meeting.
Mm-hmm.
They televise it, but you never know what day, so I miss them. Who is that commissioner? Because I never want to vote for the wrong one.
Oh, who I was talking about?
Yes,
What
yes.
district is he in?
District 2.
Two. He's in District 2. Are you in District 2?
No, yes, I'm in District 2.
Okay. Would you, wait a minute. No, it can't be.
Because
It can't, no, it can't because Michelle's in District 2.
oh my goodness.
uh,
Mr. McAllister is over.
Then District 2, that's the city council, number, which is 2.
Oh.
We, council members have a number, commissioners have a number,
Oh,
state
my
reps
goodness.
have a number, senators have a number, you know. But anyway, his name is Mallett, Conrad Mallett.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I'm going to continue to listen to your program.
All righty,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Barbara.
Bye-bye.
And I think it's one, but anyway, there was one other something. Are the numbers on the screen?
Yes.
ACC, oh, okay. There was one other something that you had mentioned that I wanted to emphasize. Well, the number of years in between elections for commissioners is what?
It should be 4 years.
4
currently.
years?
Yeah.
No, 4
Yes,
years.
it's the same time that the mayor, the city council is elected.
Okay, so every 4 years. You had mentioned if you wanted to get rid of them, you can do it during the election, which is true.
Yeah.
But you may not want to wait 4 years if the person is not doing justice to the residents in the city of Detroit.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep. Another thing about the charter proposal that's on the ballot this November 7th is that if you vote it down, then we can, wait another 16 years for that to automatically come up again.
From the 12th, not from the 18th, right?
I
Not
don't,
12 years
don't
from
they
this
reset
year.
the clock after?
Every 16 years, but it'd be 16 years from 2012.
Oh,
That's when
okay,
it
that's
was-
interesting.
When it was open.
Okay, right, because it will not have been revised this time. So
Right,
right, exactly.
correct.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's got a lifetime of 16 years. So what happens on the other hand, if it were to pass, is there's already 15 people who put in their names to be in a primary that will not be held because it's less than twice 9. In other words, the majority of the people who put their names in already would automatically be on the Charter Commission, depending on which 9 got the highest number of votes in the general election.
In November.
Yeah, so we don't even really have an option, for instance, if we find out that the majority of those people do not have favorable ideas on what should happen with the charter, we have no way of having new people brought into the electoral process other than write-in, which is quite a long shot. So, that's another thing that makes us a wild card. I have the names of the people whose names would be on the ballot if, in fact, we were to be in that situation. But I've only spoken with one of those people, and that was Taylor Harrell. She actually was urging people also to vote no on the charter when I spoke to her. And she does support the elected police commissioners. I don't know about the other 14 candidates. I've actually been reaching out to them, and if this becomes a necessary issue, I definitely want to be able to get the word on where they stand. But we won't have to worry about any of that if it gets voted down. If it gets voted down, we have the existing charter, and as you said, for another, I guess that would come out to another 14 years.
No.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've got to do my math. I teach math too. I'm sorry about this.
Add 16 to 12.
Yeah, so it'd be
12 and 10 is 22, and 6, 28, right?
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be
Okay.
2028.
Yeah, 2028. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. That's when it would come up again. So, again, I definitely think we need to be safe about this. Any changes that we got in 2012 could be reversed. Anything else could happen. It's a total wild card, and the fact that so little attention has been devoted to such a serious matter is unfortunate, but we can just
Well,
avoid the whole problem altogether.
The secrecy with which this was slipped in says that somebody wants a dictatorship.
Yeah, that's very troubling, the fact that there was not a whole lot of advance notification. You know, like I say, granted, it is in the language that it possibly is going to happen this year. But you would normally think that the city, the election commission, the mayor, and other people would have been publicizing the fact that this opportunity was coming up, unless they want this opportunity for another reason.
And I have no idea if there's been any polling done on this or anything, but if it has been, it's definitely been quiet. And perhaps there's people who see that the polling is in favor of it passing, in which case maybe the reason that I've seen no action and be kept quiet is people figure, well, it's not rock the boat. We're going to get what we want statistically. I mean, I'm trying to guess what might be happening on people who hold the other view. But nothing on the surface has really popped up that I've seen. I haven't
Yeah.
seen people out there waving signs around and telling people to vote yes.
I
They
think
may
most of the actual candidates, or a number of the actual candidates, are also recommending a no vote, but not necessarily all of them. And I think we have some people that may have been put in this race because they work for a different interest, and they may not be in our interest.
Well, the charter is already heavily weighted to the benefit of the mayor, whoever the mayor is. And to open this, to give more weight to it for the mayor, is to create a dictatorship. You are so diplomatic, but we have somebody on the phone. Hello, how are you watching us? Your name, please.
I'm watching you on the internet.
All right. And your name?
Yes. Oh, my name is Yvonne. I have a comment about the police academy,
Sure. Go ahead.
and that place needs to be investigated because there is so much wrong stuff going on over there, and it looks like nobody's checking on what's happening over there.
When you say
I
over
wonder
there, where are you
sometimes-
talking about?
To that piece
Where's over there? There's some
at the academy where they bring them when they first come in for their
where they.
schooling and training.
Oh, okay. At the
It's over
training
there by
center.
Linwood.
Okay. Is where?
It's over by
And
Linwood Wall.
it's
Okay.
just a lot of things going on that need to be looked into.
Okay, like
I don't
what?
know where to keep these because he acts as though we don't know what's happening.
Give us an example.
And, well, I know one young man, he was wrongfully terminated while he was in school. And the way they did it, it was just out of order. He did send his letter and everything in to have things investigated. That was back in January.
Uh-huh.
But so far, he hasn't got a response from them. And not just that, but other incidents that how they are trying to make it harder for blacks to get on the force.
I see. Okay.
Thank you for taking my call.
Wait a minute. If you would call 868-6612 and leave your name and number, 868-6612. That's up front.
Okay, dear.
Okay, and leave your name and number with the receptionist. I don't want you giving your number on the air. But if you will call her and tell her I said for you to leave your name and number, she'll give it to me when we get off the air, okay? And I'll ask
All
the
right,
commissioner
thank
to give you a call. All right. Thank you for calling.
Right. Anytime anyone knows about anything that's going on that shouldn't be going on, you need to tell someone. Always tell someone. That's far too often in our community. We don't like to tell if we see something wrong. You should always tell. You always want to make sure our neighborhoods are safe. You always want to make sure that we have less crime, not more. And you even want to tell somebody if you go to a gas station and you see that the attendant is selling loose cigarettes.
Yeah,
We have
absolutely.
too much questionable practices going on, and we cannot continue to allow that.
That's right. And that also brings down the quality of life. No matter how small the incident is, it brings down the quality of life. The police commissioners meet every Thursday on the third floor on at 13. What is it? Third Third Street.
At Third and Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
It was the MGM headquarters at one time.
Oh, okay.
But this
At
this
3
upcoming
o'clock.
Thursday, we're going to be meeting at the Recreational Center in Rosa Parks at the Williams Center.
Oh, okay.
At 6:30. So if
Joseph
anyone-
Walker Williams Center. That's
Yes.
12th Street and Virginia Park.
So if anybody have any concerns, feel free, come to us.
Right.
You know,
And it's at 6:30.
6:30.
6:30. Now, I got to stop and tell you why I still call it 12th Street, because I'm sure there's somebody out there that said, doesn't she know they changed the name to Rosa Parks Boulevard? Yes, I am well aware that the name was changed to Rosa Parks Boulevard. I do not and will not call it Rosa Parks Boulevard until it is representative of what Rosa Parks stood for and what she meant to the city of Detroit and this country and what she was supposed to have meant to the city of Detroit. I want you to know that Hood Research went from the river to McNichols, also known as 6 Mile. 12th Street runs from the river to McNichols, also known as 6 Mile. We drove the whole way, took pictures of the horrendous spots of 12th Street. Not only were lights out, light poles were broken and laying on the ground. There were storefronts that had not been boarded up. There was a broken glass, all kinds of debris. Now, when you got to 12th Street in Virginia Park, where the Joseph Walker Williams Center is, very nice center, and a strip mall and all good parking and everything, that was kept clean and neat. But the balance of 12th Street looks like crap. Hood Research has pictures of it. We did a 20-page report. I presented it to the city council. Rosa Parks at that time was still alive and living in Detroit. I asked them, please do something about 12th Street that you have named after her, so that while she lives, she could ride down a street that had been named after her and be proud that Detroit had done this. Do you think they did something about it? No, no, no.
Maybe you should resubmit
No.
it and ask to be put on the city council agenda, and a few more of us should go and raise the concern.
Okay, that's a good idea, a very good idea. We'll consider that for action. Because
I like action.
It's action is good, very good, and it just needs to be brought up again. That's a good point. It needs to be brought up again, because now that Rosa Parks is deceased, it's sad, but that's why I will not call it Rosa Parks Boulevard until it looks like it should, to represent a woman that did so much for the community. Somebody on the line? Hello, your name and how are you viewing us?
Warren New, Detroit, Comcast 91, I think.
That's
Yeah.
correct. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm tuned in, locked into the station this morning, and had some morning off. And I have a concern, I'm sure everybody does, about the city council.
Okay.
All of these developments going on, all of these bike lanes, this and that, doesn't that have to go by them for approval or something? Or does the mayor just say, I'm going to do this and it's done?
It's supposed to go by city council, yes. All of the contracts are supposed to go past city council for approval, yes. Did it? Well, we'd have to find out if it did, when, and why, especially why?
Because there's a lot of stuff going on, and it seems like they're going to have to work all day and night to look at all of these contracts, and
No.
it's just amazing. If we don't have a city council, let's just say we don't have a city council,
Well,
and then operate from that basis.
I understand what
because-
you're saying.
People are not stupid, and they don't want to be treated as such. It's just crazy. I don't know. I see a lot of stuff going on, and then you would think the city council is really busy. Does it
Yeah,
have
you
to approve
would.
even like the opening of a new restaurant or some kind of way, or permit, or what?
Well, you know, there are procedures for things to be approved and to take place. When you talk about a restaurant, they have to make sure that the location has been zoned properly for that type of business. One that is troublesome to me happens to be the Avenue of Fashion, which is Livernois, and
Yeah.
there's a bicycle lane. Then next to the bicycle lane, the cars can park, and next to where the cars can park is a space. So if you are not careful and you open your car door, you're going to be hit by the car that's driving in that lane. And next to that is a concrete wall in the middle of the street. And I sadly am waiting for a report from the fire department that they've killed somebody, because the fire truck is quite large. And it just appears to me that we are not serviced properly by a bicycle lane on Livernois. The street's not wide enough.
In Jefferson, I was on Jefferson yesterday.
Oh, I heard
That
complaints.
place looks like
Yes.
unless I was dreaming.
Yeah,
I
I've heard.
believe it's-
Uh-huh.
It looked like some kind of. It was so strange. I mean, the whole
And they have-
dynamic and the design of the street is gone. You know, on the
And they have
Who approved this
poles up supposedly to protect the bicyclers, or is it to scratch up the drivers' cars? You never know. But in the
we don't
mean,
have that many bicyclists. First of all, we have more cars. I think we need more bicyclists, but
this is not
My-
Ann Arbor. They seem to have a lot of bicycling in Ann Arbor, and this is not it. So I understand what you're saying, and it's not designed favorably for the residents or the workers in the city of Detroit.
you know, it seems like they're taking the whole city and narrowing the major boulevards
Yep.
Yes.
to create more congestion. I think somebody's in their head is they want to say, "Oh, we got it going on. Look at all the congestion," or whatever.
I agree.
But it's going to be difficult for public safety vehicles to get through. And anybody else that needs to get through something
That's
quickly. I just don't know. Does the mayor approve all of this? Where does that money come from?
The mayor presents this to council, and the money most likely is scraped off of some of the other budgeted departments. And, well, they may even
And
steal
when the winter
more
comes,
from the
do
school
they take
system.
all of that stuff down?
Did they what?
No.
To say that
When the
again?
winter and the ice comes,
No.
all those
Well, we'll have to,
posts
we'll
and
have,
stuff taken down.
well, one thing you will have to do, and thank you for your call, is monitor that this coming winter and find out how many accidents occur because of that.
And
Okay, the next caller.
Yeah, this is not my main topic I was here to talk about, but I do have some feelings about
Yeah,
it just
sure.
as a
Go
resident
ahead,
of
go ahead.
Detroit.
Okay.
And yesterday,
Okay.
I was down
Thank
on
you, caller.
Jefferson.
Just 1 second.
to see on a Sunday a traffic jam, and then I thought maybe because I know there was, and it was in a part of Jefferson that was where there were some protests regarding the immigration issue, and I thought, well, maybe they're all stopping to say hi to the people protesting or something. Well, I went down the street further. Nope, nobody was out there protesting. It was simply because there was a regular stoplight, but because there were so few lanes that cars were taking more than one light, they'd have to, in other words, move forward, stop, and wait for the next light to just move through. We never would have had that kind of problem if they hadn't been putting up all these boundaries, reducing the flow of traffic. And no, they do not take this down in the winter. In fact, I didn't even see a single bike pass by the whole time I'm watching this traffic jam. So it's accommodating the occasional bike rider, or once in a while people do these group rides, but the rest of the time, you know, people are dealing with an ongoing traffic jam. And in the winter, no, it's all still like that, and you won't see a single person out on a bike, but you'll see lots of cars backed up. And I think one simple solution is, well, would you rather have a bicycle going down the residential streets or a whole bunch of cars? Because what I had to do to get around Jefferson is I went around on other streets that are running parallel now.
Residential streets.
Yeah,
I got you.
and do you want that? Or, you know, it's a bad public safety idea. Why not have the bicycles? They'd be safer anyway, going down the side streets, and not have be taking up our major arteries, which are supposed to be for most of the through traffic.
Good point. Good morning, caller. Your name and how you're watching us. Hello.
Good morning to your other guests. This is Dee Dee.
Hey.
I'm watching you on my cell phone.
All right. Thanks for calling. Go ahead.
$13 million.
$13 million
$13 million.
spent for?
Bike lanes.
Oh, Jesus. $13 million spent for bicycle lanes in the city of Detroit.
They could have
That
paid
you're
back
only
some of my
going to
pension
use
money.
a couple of months.
Right.
And like your guest said, we were on Jefferson at the credit union. You know Bill Dorothy, our credit union?
Yes.
And it took us forever just to come out onto Jefferson to try. My grandson was driving me and made a left. It took us. We sat there for about 10 minutes just to get to Rivard.
Oh my goodness.
To make a right. So 2 lanes. What about the businesses on Jefferson? Number one. Number two, down there by the credit union, you have to either have an elevator, but you can't. Are you going to be able to get out of your vehicle and walk into these companies like the credit union?
From the back.
Bill, you know, behind, you've got to take the elevator up.
Sounds like the hospital in Ann Arbor. But it is a consideration for the residents who do not approve of that. There needs to be a conversation about it. This coming Saturday, Hood Research is meeting at 2 p.m., and we'll be at the Dabo Center, which is on Grand River in Wyoming.
Excellent location.
The address is 12048 Grand River. 12048 Grand River on the corner of Wyoming at 2 p.m. We'll be there from 2 to 6. And we definitely need to talk about this issue of the bicycle lanes. And we need to talk about some corrections for it, proposals that can be and should be presented to council and the mayor and whoever else wants to have them presented, because in my opinion it also takes away the beauty of Jefferson along the river, the Avenue of Fashion. It takes away business, because when people have to drive down Kent Park, have to go around the concrete wall, maybe they want to go to 2 stores, one on the west side of the street and one on the east side of the street. That is a serious inconvenience. And folks don't need to climb over a concrete wall in the middle of the street. That's also hazardous.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, right. It could also
Too much
fall.
cost.
So, anyway, anything else, Dee Dee?
Just like last week, I brought up about the charter and some of the. Does anyone know if Robert Bob made amendments? Not Robert Bob. The
Kevin with
bankruptcy, Kevin Orr. Did he make amendments to the charter? that they want to make, maybe they want to make these amendments?
He could not have done it himself. Amendments could have been proposed, but the citizens have to vote on an amendment to the charter. And if you find anywhere that he did that, then that's something that needs to be taken up in court.
He did make them try. We still would have to vote. Maybe that's why they want to open it up now.
Well,
that's why they want to open it up now.
That is possible.
Okay.
Very possible.
Thank you, CEO. Thank you.
You're
Wonderful
welcome.
show.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Next caller. Thank you for calling. Your name and how are you viewing us?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you viewing us?
TV33.
Okay, and your name?
Hey, good morning, Bill.
Your name?
And the guest, other guest name.
Scotty Bowman.
Yeah, Mr. Bowman, how you doing?
And
this is Lee.
Lee?
I
Okay.
thinking about that bicycle situation y'all just talked about a second ago.
Yes.
I heard last week you are the driver in the car. If they're not 3 feet from the bicycle, they can be ticketed.
If they do
Have you
what,
heard
they can
that?
be ticketed? If they do what, they can be ticketed?
Yeah, if they're not 3 feet
They're not.
from the bicycle, they can get a ticket.
How would he say?
If you're in your car,
Uh-huh.
you have to be 3 feet from the guys riding the bicycle.
You have to be 3 feet?
I know
Right.
that they are giving tickets to people that drive in the bicycle lane. Or
They get ticketed.
They get ticketed.
No, they said, well, we're going to drive in our normal lane.
Okay.
But it seemed like it should be turned around. The bicyclist should be told to stay 3 feet from the car.
Oh, I think the
You know?
bicycle lanes just don't need to be on the street.
Well, and
Yeah, they just need to stay in their lane, okay?
I think-
Because
I
that's kind of
agree.
messed up. They should get the ticket if they're too close.
Gotcha, okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do. Bicyclists are not getting
I have
tickets.
one more comment.
Oh, go
When
ahead.
it comes wintertime and they start shoveling that snow and it don't get all the way up on the curb, that's going to leave less room for them bicyclists, so they're going to have to come over in our lane.
Oh. well,
Think
now
about that.
There is an issue, definitely an issue. And how do
Yeah,
they
this-
shovel with those sticks in the ground?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a bad problem.
So nobody's
It's
in-
cousin there, by the way.
They haven't even thought of that.
Okay.
I got you.
as far as that,
Excellent point. Go ahead.
Okay,
Scott.
thank you, dear.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're welcome. Thanks for calling, Lee.
as far as that 3-foot thing goes, I mean, ever since when I first took driver's ed, we were taught that a bicycle or a motorcycle that's in the road should be accommodated the same amount of space as a common size, like a mid-sized car that's in the road. So there is the assumption that you're giving space. Now, you are correct in also pointing out that they need to also allow for that much space. If they pull up next to your car, there isn't really much you can do about it. And I mean, and I've seen motorcyclists who like to weave between cars at rather high speeds. And I think that's rather reckless, and a sensible biker won't do that. The problem we have here now is that we've got these separate set of lanes. Whereas if you did have all of the lanes open on Jefferson and someone's riding a bicycle in the right automobile lane, they actually would have right of way automatically anyway. So that exception would be accommodated under the regular law.
The slow lane.
Yeah.
They call it.
And so, but there is that rule is not really a new rule that there needs to be space around a bicycle. They're supposed to have, or either a bike or a motorcycle should have the same amount of space as a car.
Okay. Hello, caller. How are you watching us in your name? Hello? Go to the next one. Hello, how are you watching us in your name?
Tio, I'm not even watching. I got a text message from Bill Davis said he was going to be on your show. I got to get that antenna so I can watch the show like I used to.
Okay, is this Ruby?
He said you...
Is this Ruby?
Yes, it is. Yeah, good morning.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Go ahead.
Listen, so are you all on Facebook?
Not yet. We're working on it.
That's good. That's good. 'Cause,
Okay.
I did
All right.
watch you on Facebook too.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know what you're talking about this morning, but when I seen that Bill Davis was going to be on there, we went to a water board meeting, I think it was about 2 weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
and they were talking about, the runoff that they was going to be charging.
Oh, starting in
So
July.
I didn't speak on that, but what I did, when they made the comment about the residents in the area, if there's any support in these vacant houses, that they're going to charge us. So I told them that it was a house around the corner from me. I'm having an echo on the phone. But anyway, I told them it was a house around the corner from me, and they asked the address. I didn't have it. But anyway, they gave me the number to call to give them the address to the house. Now, I called last month in June. They was going to get to it. They didn't get to it yet. I went around there again, and they still hadn't got to it. So I called them back, and she said, well, they're going to send somebody out immediately. And they still haven't sent nobody out. So
The water's running.
to me, they're just a game.
The water's running?
Running the waters off at these houses.
You should call the mayor's office. You should call the mayor's office and leave a message to the mayor's office and let them know that you've been calling the water department.
His number is
And I even got the last
313
I got the lady's name. Okay, hold on.
224 3400.
What is it?
Oh, 224-3400 is the mayor's number. 224-3400. Yes, a 313
Okay.
number,
Good morning,
224-3400.
Bill.
Yeah. And if they don't respond, keep calling his office.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling, Ruby. Next
All
caller.
right.
Uh-huh. Hello, your name and how are you viewing us?
Hello, my name is Derek,
Thanks for calling. Derek.
and
You're watching us?
I'm watching WHR today on the internet.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Your comment?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to comment. It seems to be getting a little echo here.
Are you on a speakerphone?
No.
Huh. Okay. Well, go ahead. I hear you clearly.
Oh, wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to comment about the
Caller, you might need to
bike
turn
lane.
your TV down.
Hold
In
on
the
one
back?
second.
Oh. That's his echo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hello.
Go ahead. You
Okay.
want to comment on?
My comment is on bike lanes.
Yes, go ahead.
And as a citizen of Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really a car driver. I
Okay.
used to drive a car about 10 years ago,
Okay.
but because of my epilepsy,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really able to drive.
Drive anymore?
And
Okay.
because, yeah, and because of the high insurance,
Yes. Okay.
I wouldn't even want to drive in the city
I understand.
anyway.
Okay.
So, in order to get around, I usually ride my bike
Mm-hmm. Okay.
as well as take the DDOT bus.
Okay.
The bike lanes that they have on Grand River
Mm-hmm.
has been a great help,
Okay.
especially when the DDOT buses don't always come on time.
Mm-hmm.
So at least I have a bike with me, so I don't always have to wait on the bus.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
So I know everybody talk about how negative the bike lanes are,
Mm-hmm.
but
But you're a supporter of it. Okay. You're a supporter, and I do understand. And Grand River is a lot wider than Livernois.
Mm-hmm.
The area. Have you been over to Livernois, the Avenue of Fashion, and the businesses there?
yes, I have.
Okay.
They
Some of them have closed.
Bluegrass Road down now.
You got another caller.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's a vote for. And I'm not totally against bicycle lanes. I'm just against bicycle lanes where they reduce the driving force for businesses such as on Livernois. And it just appears to me that they were put there, and the concrete wall in the middle of the street were both done purposely to drive customers away from the businesses. And that's not a good thing. There's a lot of area, roads, streets where the bicycle lanes can be marked that do not have to go down Livernois. They can go around Livernois. So that's where I have an issue.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But also, let's keep into account also that many of the drivers have the tendency to not only park in the bike lane, they
Really?
also have the tendency to hit bicycle riders.
Mm-hmm. My grandson has been hit by a driver, yes. I know what you're talking about. But
about
I
those,
think even without, matter of fact, with or without bicycle lanes, there are people that are that hateful. And if they're driving, hopefully they can see, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen one of those white bicycles that are chained to a pole?
No.
Those bikes that are chained there
Yes.
are pretty much a sign of not only where those accidents occurred,
Mm-hmm.
but where those people died.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's
They'll
pretty
make
much
people
my
aware.
comment.
Uh-huh. That's good to make people aware. Well, this coming Saturday, if you got the time and interest, join us at the Hood Research meeting. And thank you for calling. We'll be at 12048 Grand River on the corner of Wyoming in the Daybone Center at 2 p.m. And the gathering goes on. We meet once a month, and it's from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And thank you so much for calling us and for tuning in.
Of course. Have a nice day.
Thank you. All right. Hello, how are you watching
Hello?
us and tuned in? Yes, your name.
Yes, this is Renee.
Hey,
from
Renee.
Pontiac.
Hey, thanks
And
for calling.
I'm watching by the internet.
All
Yeah,
right.
there's an echo.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
The bike lanes, I don't know if I have a vote or no, but because I live in Pontiac, I cut this down.
Mm-hmm.
But I was working for Coleman Young, and there's 7 Mile and McNichol, but this was on 7 Mile, and behind there's a neighborhood behind there.
Yes.
And there was this bike race with these old-time bicycles,
Uh-huh.
and excuse the gentleman on to your left. But there's looked like a lot of white suburbanites and a few of the young black kids that was in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so much police protested. There was police holding traffic from one side, and there was police holding it on the other side. Police escorted in front of them. One was directing traffic, and another was on the end. And I said, now somebody could be getting robbed, like me getting my rental car getting breaked into, and I'm waiting over an hour for the police to come down there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were having a bike race.
Oh,
And they have places, there's 4 bikes, like the park, what is it, the Quindicut, the riverfront.
Uh-huh.
Right, I don't think they should be riding around. Why they got around the whole city for, or in the neighborhood?
Mm-hmm.
Right, that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
And I agree with, with the business owners.
Wow.
Right, because that takes away their business.
I got
So my
you.
vote would be no.
All right. I got you. Well,
Okay, thank
unfortunately,
you.
thank you for calling, Renee. Hello, how are you watching us in your name, please?
This is Klaus Solz. I'm at work, but I wanted your audience to know about the tax exemption workshop.
Tax exemption. Okay, go ahead.
They
Announce
have
it.
workshops, and you can get in touch with the United Housing Coalition.
Okay.
You can dial 211 and get information in your location.
You dial 211 to get information about the housing workshop or housing exemption workshop. Is that
yeah,
correct?
Tax exemption, call 211 and find out your location so you can go to a workshop.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Peace.
Uh-huh.
Happy Monday.
All right, happy Monday to you. Scotty, is there a possibility for an amendment to be put in the charter as it relates to bicycle lanes?
Oh, yeah, there are always options for charter amendments, and there does require petitions. I don't know the number of signatures required, but it is fairly high. But one can collect petitions to put a charter amendment on the ballot and have it specify specifically what one would want to change. Now, that's something that's so specific, because the charter is sort of like a constitution.
Yeah.
This is something so specific.
Right.
That I think the efforts put into the amendment would probably be better placed on lobbying the council to do something about it, and the mayor, both, to do something about that. And I think really that would be a better
way to
use
go?
of resources, in my opinion.
All right, thank you. Hello, we're down on time. You have a question, your name, and how you're viewing us.
For August Farmer.
Arthur? And you're watching us how?
91.
Oh, okay. Oh, go ahead.
Isn't today the last day to vote for the register to vote?
Yes,
Today
it
is
is.
the last day to register. We
Yes.
encourage everyone to
Please
register today
register.
that have not registered for the primary.
Yes.
Okay, and one quick thing too about those bike lanes. I think that somebody should sue in federal court to force the Tri-County area to institute a mass transit plan for the next generation, because this blue light that we got going now is going to turn out to be disastrous. Thanks for the show.
Oh, thanks for your input. And I don't think that mass transit has to be underground or above the ground, high in the air and all of that. It could be done with buses. And at one time, oh, okay. I thought it was the last one. Okay, I will pause for the cause. Your name, how you viewing us?
Good morning, my wife.
Hey,
Chris,
Sam, how you doing? Yes.
I would like to ask Mr. Bowman if he realized they took out the swearing or affirming to uphold the charter of the city of Detroit during the Archer reign.
Administer, yeah. Did you know that?
No, but they definitely should be sworn to uphold the charter, because the charter is the dominating document under which they're serving, and that defines their office. And so without that, I mean, without the charter, their office doesn't even exist.
Exactly.
So,
And they said there was no need to have that in the charter.
why?
Well, but there was no need to take it out either.
You're right.
So, I mean, they could technically say, I don't have to uphold the charter because it's not in the charter. So,
well.
no on
That's right.
revising charter.
Vote no on opening the charter. Thank you so much for
Have
that.
a blessed day.
You too. We're going to have to look into that and make a presentation
Oh, yeah.
on putting that back, and the council can do that. All right. Well, we are, unfortunately, at the end of the program. The time just melts away, you know. But I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. And I want you to know that it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary, however, is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We at Hood Research seek out as much information as we can to share with you, and we encourage you to do the same. Our meeting is this Saturday at 2 p.m. Location is the Daybo Center, which is 124048 Grand River on the corner of Wyoming. The meeting is from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m., where we share a lot of ideas and strategies to help the quality of our life in this community better and a better place to live. And we have hoodresearch.org, which is the website. contact@hoodresearch.org is the email. And the telephone number is area code 248-234-2371. Again, that's area code 248-234-2371. We're looking forward to you being with us this Saturday and tuning in again next week. And I want to thank you so much, Scotty Bowman, for joining us today to talk about the charter and how we should vote no. And I want to thank my co-host for today, sometimes known on the Bill Davis Show. And the police commissioners meeting is this coming Thursday, 6:30, at the Joseph Walker Williams Center, which is on 12th Street and Virginia Park. Did you have anything you want to say?
No. Vote every time you can and know your issues. If you don't know your issues, come out to meetings. Be it Hood Research, Detroit NAM, Detroit Active Retired Employee Association. There are plenty of groups out here that could help us learn from each other.
And tune in again next week. Peace.